Hey everyone, and welcome to the Midnight FrightCast. We are ringing in the new year with episode number 4. And hopefully,
Big 4.
Big number 4. And hopefully we worked out the technical issues that haunted us in the last podcast. I think we kind of got figured out what happened there, and it all had to do with Josh's massively booming voice.
Yes.
Can
you put like a big like
Voice.
Yes. Yeah.
With me in the basement studio is Josh.
Yeah, you heard me already.
Yeah, you did.
I talked.
We got Tom on the other microphone.
Here I am.
And stranded somewhere in a local, convenience store telephone booth, we've got Greg.
I am literally ringing in.
There we go. He is.
New year.
He is on the phone. And like we know about Greg, as usual, he's phoning it in.
He's calling in from the place that we cannot talk about.
Now, I just wanted to say Happy New Year to everyone, to you guys, and especially to our listeners. And just really quickly, I kind of wanted to go around and ask you all what you did for the holidays.
I'll start, super chill. I just stayed in with my wife and my sister and her husband and kids and played games and watched movies. It was really chill and low-key. I also worked, but most of it was spent just hanging out with them and chillaxing. It was really low key.
Very cool.
It's the best way to bring it in, I think.
Definitely. Who wants to go next?
I had Christmas Eve at my house. It was somewhat eventful, actually. And then I did we always do Christmas with my nieces. And then this year we celebrated my sister's 50th birthday twice. And so we got
She's
that
100.
in as well. She's half 100. Well, yeah, no. We just celebrated it twice for her. Okay. So anyway, it's always low key.
Excellent. Greg.
I was blessed and fortunate enough to spend the Christmas holiday in Southern California, where there was no chance of snow, and it was beautiful. And then Christmas Eve, we had a party with our neighbors, and then we went across town to another party with some of our friends. And it was relatively low-key, but definitely California was the way to go. Palm trees for Christmas, everybody. Forget the Douglas firs.
That's awesome. Nice. That's incredible. I myself, I stuck around here. My wife and youngest daughter went down to Florida, so they spent the Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's down there visiting my oldest daughter and our granddaughter. And they had a great time, but while I was here, I did everybody's laundry, so that was really kick-ass.
Please tell us you did your own.
And what?
Did you at least do your own?
No.
Because that's the complaint we normally have.
Why would I do that? And I surprised my wife by painting the bedroom and got that all finished. So she came back to basically brand new bedroom. So needed to spice it up there somehow or another.
You can paint subliminal messages into the wall.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you might have taken advantage of that.
Well,
with blacklight paint.
It does show up under a UV light, but it's not necessarily paint.
That's a good way to kick it off, guys.
I really should not have gone there at all. Hey, guys, last time Josh and I met, we decided on a movie that we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
And I'm going to change the format a little bit about how we talk about this. And I'm kind of throwing this at Josh at the last minute.
Love it.
And
can we still speak English?
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely. We can do that. So the movie was 31.
Yes.
Written by and directed by Rob Zombie. Okay. So here's a little bit about the movie. Okay. 5 carnival workers are kidnapped the morning of Halloween in 1976 and held hostage in a large remote industrial hell. At the mercy of their captors, they are forced to play a twisted game of life or death called 31. And for the next 12 hours, they must fight for their lives against an endless parade of grease-painted homicidal maniacs. Is that a fair description of the movie?
On the nut.
All right.
Yep.
Now, the ratings that this movie has gotten.
You're wrong on the rating that I saw your first one there.
Which one, Roger Ebert?
There's no way that's 3 out of 4.
It is 3 out of 4.
Okay.
Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4.
I swear I thought I looked that up today and I thought it was 1 out of 4.
Roger Ebert is a hack.
Roger Ebert.
Well, of course it's not him.
I'm clapping.
He's 6 feet under. But
yeah, this is Roger Ebert, I guess. No. Rotten Tomatoes. The tomato meter gave it
50%.
50%, while the audience rating gave it 39%.
I'm clapping again.
Yes, you are.
50% is actually really good on Rotten Tomatoes, though. There's been some dog shit. There's been some pretty bad scores on some of these horror films that have come out.
His House of 1,000 Corpses is the highest on Rotten Tomatoes I saw.
Really?
I believe so. Or maybe that's the one that got 2 thumbs up. I can't remember.
IMDb gave it 5 out of 10. So the way we normally went through this is like we all kind of did a round, we went around the table and said what we each thought of it.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to read a very brief review from 5 different reviewers.
Okay.
Okay. And then I just want to open it up to an open conversation reacting to the reviews themselves.
What? So we can't say our own opinion?
No, you could definitely say your own
Okay.
opinion.
Yeah.
But it's your opinion based on what that person has said, etc. But definitely give your own opinion.
Yeah, well, because I've got some things I definitely want to.
Okay.
I'm excited more than just hearing I don't even care about my own thing. I watched because this is all fresh for you guys. I watched this movie 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So it's not as fresh in my mind. I'm excited to hear on your end because it's not necessarily something that you guys. When I said 31 to Tom and Patrick, they're like, "What the fuck is 31?" So right out of the gate, there, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
And I know it's not Greg's cup of tea. So I'm more interested in hearing your guys' view on it anyway.
Right.
Okay.
Because it's not something that you would have normally chased.
All right.
Right.
Variety Magazine. Rob Zombie truly loves horror movies, but he still hasn't made a good one. And 31 is a perfect encapsulation of the reasons why. It's a fanboy's highlight reel of homages without any of the credibility or context that made most of the films he's inspired by.
Okay, we're doing this one at a time?
No.
Are we supposed to remember all these?
Well, we can go. I mean, there's a certain theme for most of these. I think you'll get it. Okay, AV Club. Zombie's new movie 31 is all attitude. It's also the worst thing he's ever made. Interminable, incoherent, and devoid of suspense.
Okay.
Josh is taking it on the nose right now.
I should have the red microphone because I feel like I'm being punched.
New York Times. Awash in blood and revoltingly misogynistic dialogue, the latest redneck ruckus is a grindhouse slog of unrelenting bad taste.
Okay.
The New York Daily. There's probably an audience for Zombies 31, but Lord help anyone left alone in a movie theater with them.
Yep, that's guilty.
Okay, Roger Ebert. 31 feels like something new from Zombie. It feels like an adrenaline high cry to action from an accomplished artist. Zombie may not be working outside of his comfort zone, but 31 is one of his most impressive films to date.
Okay, when was this?
Is the fucking best.
When was this movie released?
Last year, October.
Okay, we do know it's not Roger Ebert, right?
Right.
He's dead.
He's dead.
So it's whoever there's a slew of reviewers under Roger Ebert. Ebert's wanting a commission.
So yes, Roger Ebert
Wanting commission.
.com gave it a 3 out of 4.
There we go. Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay.
I'm all about clarity.
So with those thoughts in mind, we had some ones that were critical, obviously, and some at least one that was
Yeah.
praiseworthy of it. So let's just open this up. Who wants to jump in?
Okay. Well, out of the gate, he has made the first comment was he's never made a good movie. That's horseshit.
Okay.
And I know that's based on opinion. So, but he's made 6 films now, and is it 7?
I think it's 7.
Okay.
Because I remember one of the reviews saying it's a 7th film.
Okay. Well, then we'll say 7. I would say 5 out of those 7 are on my scale pretty fucking awesome. I can name the 2. Again, from my opinion, the 2 that are not great. But I would say the other 5 are fantastic. 31 is not the worst film, again, in my mind, that he has ever made. I would give that to Lords of Salem. Easily, I would give that to Lords of Salem. And I don't know what other hogwash was said there, but I don't agree with anybody but the last review.
Mr. Roger.
Okay.
The Mr. Roger.
The third reviewer, I don't know if it was AV or if it was the Times. The biggest problem I have with this film is the dialogue is horrible.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was the one that said the misogynistic. That didn't bother me. What bothered me was every other word or line was the same line out of was it Sickhead? Is that
He was the midget clown.
Yeah. So every line was literally just, I'm going to kill you, bitch. I'm going to kill you, bitch. I'm going to kill you, bitch. And she just kept saying, come on then. Come on then. And it was like, that's a long time to hear the exact same dialogue.
And then they did it in Spanish too.
Well, yeah,
which is fantastic.
Awesome.
I thought that was great.
I didn't mind that. It was funny that he was all swastika upped, but he wasn't the one who spoke in German. It was actually Sickhead and no, not Sickhead.
It was
Sexhead.
Death and Sex.
Death and Sex. Okay.
Thank you for catching that because I thought that was the weirdest thing. Why is the mini Hitler speaking Spanish?
Yes.
Okay.
And
It was not written that way, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Rob Zombie
really?
heard him speaking Spanish on set one day, and he was like, "Oh shit, you speak Spanish? I want you to do your whole entire speech in Spanish." And it was changed
You're
on
still
set that
dressing
day.
up as a mini Hitler.
Yes.
I got two more observations, and I'll be quiet for a minute. I don't want to forget about him. One thing I thought he did that I liked at the end with that. No, this is going to sound bad, but that little montage where they're all dancing together at the very, very end.
Right.
That to me showed those characters more than in a likable light than anywhere else in the movie. And I'd wish that in that van ride that he literally spent 20 minutes on, that they could have captured that sense of those five characters.
Right.
That they're these loving, fun-loving. And again, that would take someone, I don't mean someone, that would have taken good dialogue. And there just wasn't any. And so I felt they wasted too much time on the van ride because you didn't really get any new information and you didn't really like them. But I sure liked him in that little montage and they're dancing. I thought that was the missed opportunity. The other thought I thought would have been stronger, you guys might disagree on this. I love the idea of Doom. Is it Doomhead? I don't forget what their
Doomhead was one of them.
Doomhead at the end. But wouldn't it have been cool if he comes out of that van and he wiped his face clean so he was kind of a regular guy again? And
You're talking about the very end?
yes.
The very,
Okay.
very end.
So he's following her, and then he comes out, and he's himself that we saw earlier.
Yeah.
And he's so pissed off that she beat him that he comes out, and instead of showing the knives, he just stops. She turns around, he smiles, and you don't know, is he going to kill her as the regular guy because he's pissed he lost the game,
Or does he respect her for
or does he
surviving?
respect her and let's get a cup of coffee? I don't know. I thought that would have been a cooler.
Let's get a cup
I
of
know.
coffee.
That would be the weirdest cup of coffee.
That would have
right
been the
there.
best
I just
ending
think
ever.
But you wanted, like, I get what they were doing. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. But then when he pulled his knives up, it was like, no, now we do know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have been a cooler ending?
That
Yeah,
was,
but she also doubled her fist,
But-
so she may have won.
Her makes sense.
Right.
She just went through this,
Yeah.
trauma.
Because he says he does it to get paid.
That's the
You
thing.
know, so he's once they said weapons down, is that when he's done, or did he feel he had to finish the kill?
But that's what I mean. If he didn't have the paint and stuff on, maybe he's going to kill her as himself outside of the rules of the
outside
game.
the game, yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that was my.
I almost wonder if he gets paid by the kill, and because she beat him, that's
Oh.
why he's pissed off.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be killed within the game.
Well, you know what? If he's
Right.
paid by the kill, then stop talking and kill.
Well,
Yeah.
and also though, what I did kind of like, there's some things I liked about his character. It wasn't just him getting paid; he was just so goddamn arrogant. He was the
Right.
best at this. He was the greatest at
When he
this.
told everybody they can go home.
And even when he's with that woman, he has this line that talks about when you do everything right in life. I can't remember what
Yeah,
the
yeah.
line is, but he's really like self-assured. So I kind of liked that about him. But okay, I'm done. Those are my critiques.
I kind of want to riff off of Tom there. This movie does have some good points. I thought Doomhead was probably the best part of this entire film.
I agree.
His character, I think he portrayed amazingly. I didn't like the little montage or the little segment he did at the very beginning with the priest, but it took me a while to understand why he was doing that. But once he started getting into his clown character, when he's putting on face paint and he started punching himself in the face. Before I go on, are we doing spoilers?
It's just go.
Oh, shoot.
Just go. Okay.
Just go.
Where he's punching himself in the face and he walks out and he's got that old world look to him with his white face and the blood dripping down. I thought that was probably one of the coolest looks of the entire film. Let me see here. I got notes that I took. some of the cinematography in this was absolutely gorgeous, and they talked about. I watched a little bit of the special features, and they were talking about using having it heavily backlit and using a smoky look to it. I thought some of the shots that they did, especially the dinner scene, was one of them, or the opening reveal where they're tied to that big wood block, and we meet the 3 French Renaissance characters. I thought those were some really, really amazingly shot scenes. So I didn't know what you guys had thought about those.
Yeah, and he had limited time on this too, so a lot of those scenes were rushed. So they, for as good looking as they were also incredibly rushed. I think he had Malcolm McDowell for 2 days, and he had that set for 2 days. So he had everything that was shot. He had 2 days to shoot it.
Yeah, I believe the whole thing was shot in 20 days. It was
that
20
20 days?
Yeah.
Okay. So not only did he, again, like Greg kind of said, shoot something that looked really good, he had a really limited amount of time to do it, and no money. He had no money. I think he kickstarted 31.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did read that too. So those are my good points on this. Now, if I can step onto the other side of the fence, this movie was shot like it was plays like it's based on a video game. Now, that being said, had this movie been made as a video game first, this game would have been freaking awesome. I would have loved to play this video game. Going through, trying to free yourself in these 12 hours, going up against the clown horde, and then meeting up with the boss type characters of the sick head, the psycho, and schizo heads, and Doomhead eventually. I thought that would have been a really awesome video game. On the flip side, it still plays like it was based on a video game movie. And if you can name me one video game movie that was good, I'll give you $10 because I don't know many.
You mean Tron doesn't count?
Mario Brothers?
No, not at all.
Resident Evil.
I'm getting really kind of tired of Zombie putting his wife in every fucking movie that he does.
I think that was a complaint Josh had when we were talking about the movie.
She's the weakest actor in that whole show.
Easily.
You know,
And Meg Foster looks like she's 170 years old.
I'm sorry, but she looks terrible.
She
kind of
looked like
what you were
leather.
saying.
That was it.
Yeah.
What you were saying, Tom, when you were talking about how the dialogue didn't help and you didn't really get a chance to get to know the characters at all. There was, I didn't care that any of them had died.
No, me
but
too.
The one that I was hoping did was Cherry Moon Zombie. So that was kind of a letdown. But
I kind of liked... go ahead. Sorry. This is your...
No, I was going to say, I'm noticing this trend where he keeps recycling actors. Like Malcolm McDowell comes back in this again. Did you need him?
He's not alone in that. He's not alone in that, though. A lot of people do that. A lot of directors are doing that. They're working with the same people in the same movies because they know they can work with them. They know they're going to show up. They know they're going to do their work. And they know if I have 20 days to make this movie, I need people that are going to show up and work.
They know the process. And okay, that does
like
make
that
sense.
hack Kevin Smith. He works with the same people over and over.
Off. Damn it.
That is true. So maybe not too much to that argument, but stop
Ron
putting
Howard,
your wife in
he
movies.
works
I
with a lot of the
understand that
same
she wants to
people.
be an actress and that this is the only way she can get to be an actress. Just stop. Give
Yeah,
her a break.
right.
Let her
She's not
take
very
the
good.
movies off.
I mean,
she's not a very good actor.
Yeah, I mean...
She played a good role as Michael Myers' mom, I thought, in Halloween. And I thought she played a really good role. Probably her best role was whoever she played in House of 1,000. But I
Baby?
think she's...
Baby.
Yeah.
I think she's played out at this point.
Now, she was in an episode of House or one of those doctor shows as well because she played the mother of a patient. And she was actually very good on that, too. So she has branched out outside of horror. That was not directed by Rob Zombie. And played a character that was loving and caring and not Michael Myers' mother. Just, just throwing that out there.
That's fair. I give her props for branching out, but stop acting in his movies for a while.
She's
played out, a little played out. I didn't like that it took 24 minutes before anything really got going.
Oh, that was the exact same point I had with the van. 22-minute van ride. Yep.
It took way too long. I didn't need to know that much about those characters. 10 minutes, I think, would have been sufficient. I know there was that first 10 minutes where Doomhead's talking to the priest, which took up a lot of that. But there's still... Let's get rolling a little bit faster if that's what you're doing.
But you have to decide what you want, though. Like, do you want to know these characters so you do give a shit when they do die, or do you want to get on with it and just start?
But
I think that was the problem, though, because he spent 25 minutes with that, and I still didn't care about it.
No, I understand that.
If he had good dialogue, then I do want to watch.
I agree.
I want to watch.
I'm saying that we can't ask.
The story that needs to be fixed is you got to give me a reason to care about the characters, and you can do that. Just don't take 15, 20 minutes to do it. If you're going to do it, get into it. That way, when we meet up with the stick figure Blair Witch type scene, I'm freaking out that people are getting stabbed, people are getting carried away, and all of a sudden they're hanging out by this giant 2x4 or 4x4 or whatever it is in whatever that little area was.
Right.
I will say I did. I mean, I agree with everything said. I did have. I had my own problems with this movie. Sherry Moon was a problem, so I totally agree with that. I didn't like the ending to the movie. I liked everything up to the ending. I was not a huge fan of how it ended. I thought it was kind of weak. I thought it was kind of a cop out, really. Like, he wrote it and then he didn't know how to end it, so he was just like, okay, well, we're this, and then end a movie. And I even looked at Patrick when I talked to him about the movie, and I was like, the language in this movie is like way further than he's ever taken the language in any of his other movies. The language was like, if I'm complaining,
what do you mean by the language?
The
swearing, the
swearing.
Oh,
the
okay.
vulgarity of it.
If I'm complaining about it, there's a problem with that movie.
Well, it's just that if you keep using that stuff and that's all they say, it just gets boring. It's not so much it offends me.
It loses its potency.
And it's not scary to just call, it's
gross.
Yeah, okay. And I'm not a prude. It's just I want a story, and you're losing your story. Yeah. Okay.
So those were some, I think, minor things I had a problem with in the movie. Again, I did
like the beginning, though. I have to say.
You what?
I did like the beginning.
I loved the beginning. That's where I disagree with Greg on this. That the way it opened in the black and white, and the monologue.
Yeah.
Given almost directly to the camera.
I thought it was to us until we saw
that's what I thought
the priest.
At first, and you just saw him looking slightly off camera, and I didn't know if it was like he had wonky eyes, but I like you, Tom, I thought it was to us, and I thought it was very effective.
And here's the thing, the guy who played that character was a minor part in Halloween 2.
See, he seemed like a good actor.
I think it was Halloween or Halloween 2. He was a minor part. You barely got his part was he was barely in it, but he went from being a minor part in a Rob Zombie movie to the part in a Rob Zombie movie, and he carried it easily. He was easily the best character in the whole movie.
Yeah,
definitely.
I didn't mind the actor who played Roscoe. I kind of liked him too. The long-haired, the
Rastafarian.
The guy with the chops.
Yeah, is he in other zombie movies?
Was he the last guy standing?
Salem.
He was the last guy, right? That was.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That wouldn't fit down the.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah. He's been in other. A lot of them have been in other stuff. Most of them have been. 3 of them haven't been in any of.
He's been on
stuff.
Westworld.
Was he on Westworld? I didn't see that.
I watched the entire series. Maybe that's why I recognized him. Oh, okay.
I
thought he was good.
I agree with Greg that some of the cinematography in this was just outstandingly beautiful and well done. I think stylistically he handled this very, very well, especially in some of the transitions going from still images into, sliding them off into the live action.
That was interesting.
That was kind of cool.
I was kind of at a disadvantage in this, and I don't know, maybe Tom too, in the sense that I've only seen one other Rob Zombie movie, and
I've not seen any.
The Halloween.
Okay.
You've never seen the Halloween remake?
I can't because John Carpenter's
Oh, okay.
My God.
Right.
I can't
Oh,
even.
So you don't want to waste it by watching.
I'm going to
You
watch it because
should.
Josh gave it to me to watch, but
Do it.
It's really good.
I
It's
can't
really good.
imagine that it's better, and I'm going into it already with a huge bias.
So I don't have the other movies to compare it to or anything like that. But I agree with one of the criticisms in that list is that it was devoid of suspense because.
But for me, all slasher movies are devoid of that. Once you get into just slashing people, it's like I just get bored.
But that's where I think that it could have helped the movie by having that
Yeah,
suspense
yeah,
in there.
yeah.
Especially since the game is based on suspense. You don't know when these things are going to pop out. You don't know where these things are hiding. The suspense needs to be built into that, and it wasn't there.
Right.
Oh, because they immediately come out once like one person's dead.
Once
immediately it's the next.
Yeah, once Malcolm McDowell announced who the next killer was, they showed the next killer right away.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, here's sex or here's death and sex, and they come strolling down, and it's like, maybe I wanted to wait and.
Yeah, give me
that.
something to hang on to.
Plus, oh, sorry, I mean, I keep interrupting.
Go ahead.
Plus, there's an opportunity there for the group of 5 people to play off each other.
Right.
In that kind of a stressful situation, you're going to start turning on each other, or that's an opportunity. Do you guys know what I mean?
Yeah,
Which creates more conflict.
It's kind of like run faster than the slowest person type thing. Yeah, they're gonna.
Yeah.
And these guys were always kind of with each other, which is nice. But
Yeah. But this will please Josh.
Can't wait.
I enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, clapping again. Clapping again.
Overall, I enjoyed the movie, and I think it was
didn't.
because of the way it started, the cinematography all the way through. Yes, there's things I didn't like. I wanted more suspense, and Rob Zombie's wife did not need to be a part of this one, other than she was, I guess, eye candy for him or easy to work with. However, I walked away from this movie thinking maybe I should watch some more of his stuff and compare it.
Admittedly, he has better. He has House of Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects are top 2 easy.
Mm-hmm.
Halloween is fantastic. I said out of 7 because you said there's 7, right?
Right.
I'm thinking 6, but out of 7, 5 of them are great. The 2 ones on the on the totem pole for me are Lords of Salem and Halloween 2, and even Halloween 2 is barely on that list.
Yeah,
because I enjoyed Halloween 2.
Yeah, and most critics would agree with you on the Salem. That they think it's more
Lords of Salem is awful.
So
It's
I will watch Halloween next, then, or House of 1,000 should I watch next?
I want to hear.
House of 1,000 next.
No, now I want to hear his thoughts on Halloween because he's a Carpenter fan, and I love the original Halloween. Every time it plays on Halloween down in town, I'm there. But Rob Zombie did something new with it. The first hour of that movie, Michael Myers as a kid.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's the opening hour of that movie is fantastic from my standpoint. From other people's standpoint, it ruined Michael Myers.
Okay.
So you kind of make your own opinion.
One thing, and we're going to segue into this later, but with because he's going to be one of my people, obviously.
Right.
Carpenter does know how to build suspense, though.
Yes.
That's one thing I think he's really good at. Okay.
Okay, guys, I'm watching the clock here, and so if each of us can kind of wrap up the movie in 1 or 2 sentences, how would you review it in 1 or 2 sentences?
I fucking loved it. Go and watch it.
All right, pretty
Those are
simple.
my 2.
All right,
Mine would be interesting ideas, terrible dialogue.
Greg.
I'm on the fence about it. It'd be better as a video game.
All right. And for me, if you want to look at cinematography, how to put a movie together, I thought this was very well put together, regardless of the dialogue or the acting. I think it was a well-structured movie from the cinematic point of view. So I think it's something to look at and judge that way. So that's 31 by Rob Zombie.
Wrap on 31.
Yeah.
Wrap on 31.
That's not all bad, Josh. That was
all
we all
fair.
had
It was
good
all
stuff,
fair.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
I never want anybody to go, I love that movie because that's
Right,
what Josh
right,
wants to fucking
right.
hear. No. That's why I was excited for
And
you guys to watch it because I do want to hear what you really think about it.
and I always say this about horror movies too. Those are the easiest to make bad. Horror movies is hard to make good.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
So homework for next week, so we can tease out the next movie that we're going to talk about.
Yes, you each had one, right?
Well,
or do we want to go with one and then the next?
I kind of like Tom's suggestion.
Okay.
Because it's been on my list to watch, and
Which
I
is-
just keep Audition.
And now this is okay.
This is the 1999 Japanese movie.
Everybody have access to it because what I can do
it is
I don't
hard
think
to
Greg
watch.
has access to it. So what I can do is I can watch it this weekend and then I can give it to Greg because I'm going to see him on Monday.
On Monday.
Is that fair, Greg?
That's cool. What are we watching?
Audition 1999 Japanese version.
What's it on?
I have it on DVD.
Yeah, unfortunately,
okay.
it's just on a DVD I have.
Okay.
So I'll watch it and then I'll give it to you on Monday.
Okay.
All right. So that's our homework for next time we podcast. So look forward to that one. I'm going to move on to the next section now, and this is something that kind of brought up through Telegram or through Messenger, and we wanted to talk about here. And this was our Mount Rushmore of horror directors. Who do we want to see on the Mount Rushmore of horror directors?
Yeah.
We started with Josh last time, so let's not start with Josh this time.
No, don't start with me.
Let's-
Tom or Greg?
Probably Greg. I went second last time.
Oh.
I can go. I only have
Hello,
three.
bus.
I have three out of four,
I'm
unfortunately.
pulling up my list here really quick, and my phone is taking longer than it needs to.
Do you want me
I
to go
have-
real fast?
I'll go first then.
I
Okay.
have 7, so I want to hear your list because I
Got
might.
7.
Yeah,
I
let me
might trade
go
in and
first
out.
because you'll have people that I have.
By the end of this, do you think that we can narrow it down to 4?
I guarantee you
Easily.
we can. Before we start, really quick, I had 4. And then Greg sent me a message asking about the criteria and how do you get your criteria for who ends up on there. And I was just like, old, new, it doesn't matter, just horror director.
Okay.
I already had my 4 done. And then I was like, shit. Now I got to think of how I really want to do it. Because I can go all classic 4 directors. I can go old and too old, too new. I can mix it up any way I want to. But who's going to be the final 4? That's why I have 7, because I want to hear everybody's list, and then I might
Okay.
drop a new
Right.
one in there.
Okay,
I've got 5.
okay.
I'll go ahead and go
Okay.
first, guys.
Okay.
I've got 5 because I've got a tie for 4th, and I know that a lot of you will not agree with me on one of them. Okay? But for me, since we're talking about the Mount Rushmore of horror directors, I approached it from the founding father aspect
Yep.
of it. So I've got to put Alfred Hitchcock up at the top there.
It's one of mine.
Master of suspense. I mean, he did not have the opportunity for special effects, visual effects. You know, he did what he could with that, but he definitely was the master of suspense. Psycho, The Birds, Frenzy, Rear Window, just really great movies. George Romero created and introduced the modern zombie genre. I don't think we would have half of the horror genre that we have without George Romero. Sam Raimi, I've put in there because he created and introduced the mainstream to horror comedy genre. And then my tie was John Carpenter as the postmodern horror pioneer with Halloween, The Fog, and The Thing, but also Wes Craven for Nightmare on Elm Street, Last House on the Left, and The Hills Have Eyes.
You have to let me go next because you'll have all these, Josh.
Yeah, go.
Okay.
Tom.
I have almost all of these.
But I know one you're going to add to it.
So I do have 4 now because I was going to ask if Hitchcock could count because I know Psycho's horror, but a lot of the other ones. Well,
The
Birds is
Birds
horror
is
too.
horror.
Birds is horror too. Okay, so I've got my 4 then. So Hitchcock, Carpenter for me is king. I love Carpenter movies, even the ones that critics don't like. I still like. I don't know if Escape from New York is horror, but
It's not horror, but it's.
I
still-
love that
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
And The Thing, of course. And didn't he do vampires?
He did do James. Yeah, he did.
With the
Vampires.
Right.
I like
James
that
Woods, yeah.
movie. I like that movie.
It's watchable.
I even like the one with Sam Neill. He's the author that I can't remember the name of it. Anyway. I had Wes Craven. I think you have to put Wes Craven
Yeah.
on there. And of course, Roman Polanski. If you
Okay.
haven't seen Repulsion or The Tenant or Rosemary's Baby or his Macbeth or his The Ninth Gate,
Okay.
all of those.
He was up in the air on mine.
Okay.
So I didn't add him.
Okay.
He was there, and then I was like, I'm not sure if he's done. I'm not sure if he fits. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. Yeah. So I didn't put him on.
But you haven't seen those movies.
I have not. I have not seen a lot of George. I have not seen a lot
Okay.
of Roman Polanski's movies. You're right. And the only one I really know of is Rosemary's Baby.
Right. Okay.
And I should see that. So I'm failing on that. Failing hard. So Greg, you want to go next?
Yes, I can. So my list is basically the same as Patrick's. When I messaged you, Josh, I was trying to figure out how do I want to come up with my Mount Rushmore, and what I was kind of looking for was of directors that were able to pull off an eclectic variety of horror instead of just basing them on one. So John Carpenter is obviously on there. I hesitated. I don't want to hesitate because he is one of the masters of horror or the horror genre, but he more lived in the Halloween series, and to me that's kind of a cop out. I mean, he did good with what he had, but I feel like he should have branched off a little bit more. He still is a master of horror, so I'm putting him on there. Wes Craven as well. He gives us Nightmare on Elm Street. He gives us Scream, and so many more that I can't think of off the top of my head.
Yep.
Romero is definitely another one. I hesitated on him as well because all of his are zombie movies.
That's right. That's why he's not on mine.
Granted, they weren't in the same universe like Carpenter's Halloween. He did, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, Dead of the Dead. They could go on.
But they all follow the
But
same plot.
What would not exist today if George Romero did
Right.
not start?
Exactly, and that's the other
that
thing.
subgenre.
What have these directors done to give us the horror genre that we have today? Carpenter gave us probably the best slasher film of all time.
Yeah.
Wes Craven did good too.
He recreated horror with Scream.
He reinvented with Scream.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. He reinvented with Scream. We wouldn't have zombie movies if it wasn't for Romero. My fourth is Hitchcock, obviously, because horror had to start somewhere, and that's probably one of the best places to start, even if you consider most of his movies suspense.
Well, he made it mainstream.
Exactly, and it had to grow from there. They're more suspenseful now because he didn't include all the zombie blood or the Rob Zombie blood or the Eli Roth torture porn-esque to it, but it had to start somewhere.
He actually almost made my list.
I gave the fourth nod to Hitchcock, and then I left a space open for an honorable mention, which I want to give to both Rob Zombie and Eli Roth, only because I feel like they're the two who have really taken the horror genre in a horror-related aspect and really kind of kept that genre alive. Granted, it is pretty gross what they're doing now, but in the grand scheme of things, if you look at where Hitchcock was with his suspense in The Psycho and The Birds and moved it forward through, Carpenter's Halloween into Craven's Scream, they keep growing on each other. They keep getting bigger and bigger and gorier and grosser. And I think that Eli Roth and Rob Zombie are both taking that genre and keeping it true to what it is. So that's
Good.
what I have.
All right,
Okay.
Josh.
So, just based off of what I've heard from everyone else, we can easily make our own Mount Rushmore off of our list because we've pretty much got the same people.
Right.
But I do have somebody on my list that nobody dropped that I think will run eventually with every single one of those people. So my honorable mentions really quick before I do my Mount Rushmore, because I'm not going to change it. These were my original four. Now I'm not going to change it. So my honorable mentions were Sam Raimi, Evil Dead, love Evil Dead. Evil Dead's like
Me too.
top. Alfred Hitchcock's going to sit. He was the one. I was going to put him in. I was going to trade somebody out and put him in. I'm not going to, although he should be in there. I'm going to keep him off. Alfred Hitchcock. And the last one is Fede Alvarez. Because when I talk about old and new, Fede Alvarez may not have the list that Carpenter and Craven and everybody has, but he will. He will. Right now with the remake of Evil Dead, with Don't Breathe that came out, he's gonna keep. Right now, he's just gonna keep going, and he's gonna keep delivering movies.
So he's kind of the next man on the list to really take off with the genres.
If one of the heads fell off of Mount Rushmore, I would replace it with Fede Alvarez. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So here's my 4. And for reasons already mentioned. So at the top is Wes Craven. What we've already talked about. He reinvented horror with Scream. He started with Nightmare. Everybody, again, that's a go-to for everybody. Nightmare on Elm Street is a go-to for everybody. Every Halloween, it's on everybody's list. And again, the reinvention of horror. When horror was dying and Scream came out, it kickstarted a whole new list of horror that came out. So Wes Craven's on there. Obviously, John Carpenter's going to live on there. With Halloween, he did The Thing. His list goes on and on and on. We already mentioned George Romero. I've already talked about why. Because there's a billion things that would not exist today if George Romero would not have started the subgenre of zombies, like The Walking Dead. And the last person on my list, nobody mentioned, and when we're talking about old and new, I wanted to put a new face on my Mount Rushmore, so I dropped in James Wan. He did Saw. He did Insidious. He's kicking ass right now with everything he's dropping out. So for me, James Wan would live on my list.
Who's the guy? Is it Ty West? That does
Ty West? Yeah,
he's got some promise.
He's a name out there also. Mm-hmm. He's done well. Okay, I have a problem with Ty West, but he did House of the Devil, which I hated, and I didn't see what was the one he did.
Which one's House of the Devil? Should I bet you that's the one I love?
It's the one with the babysitter.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, you liked it? Okay.
Yeah,
I could not get into it. So Ty West was, he's a name though, and he's doing it. So he's just not up there. I don't think with the Fetties and James Wan's. I don't think he even touches them. So that's my list.
All right. So it kind of sounds like our 4 on Mount Rushmore are Alfred Hitchcock,
yes,
George Romero, John Carpenter, and Wes Craven.
That's a Mount Rushmore, my friend.
Okay, that works.
Yeah,
it works for me. All right, excellent.
I will just encourage you, for all of you who have never seen a Roman Polanski movie, that you probably should.
Yeah, and I will try to fix that. I feel like Tom is staring at me.
Creepy as hell.
Well, just considered by every critic in the world, Rosemary's Baby is the best horror movie ever made. We might want to actually watch that.
We'll put it on the list.
Put it on the list.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
All right. So I think we're getting to the point where we're kind of wrapping up here.
Time? Yeah.
So do we have any plugs?
We can do our always as usual plug. Check us out on midnightfrightfilms.com. Always something new dropping on there. There's links to our YouTube page where you can see a bunch of short films that we've done. There's pictures on there. We're trying to blog on there a little more. So get all the updates on midnightfrightfilms.com. Follow us on Facebook at Midnight Fright Films. And while you're doing that, hop on over to the Midnight Frightcast page as well and like us over there as well.
Tom, do you have anything to plug?
I don't, but I can see your new hair plugins, and they look really nice, Patrick.
Well, thank you very much. That's why I sent my family away, so I could spend some time at the clinic.
Greg.
You've got Greg the Movie Guy here. You can find my very own podcast on Facebook. Look up at GTMGcast. I try to keep up with these maniacs here on the Midnight Frightcast. I also have my own blog site. You can find that at gregthemovieguy.blogspot.com. Updating different movies. Got a great start for 2017 with a movie unheard of called Trumbo. Definitely check that one out first on my review, and then go check out the movie. Definitely worth your watch and your read. So that's what I got.
All right, excellent. So I guess we're just going to wrap this up. Happy New Year to everybody, just one more time, and hope to catch you later on the next podcast.
Peace out, Boy Scouts.